Because what's happened since then is that story has become one of the founding myths or founding tales. Like it's become part of the history of this thing, which is great. But I just didn't expect it at all when that happened, you know. It was my third time down there. I'd been down the Sunday and then the day before, and I started just checking it out, you know, just wandering around by myself and seeing what it was like. I hadn't gotten involved. I was still what is this thing about, you know? And I was down there to meet my friend. We were going to a South Asians for Justice meeting, and after that meeting, we sort of made an announcement, a bunch of us are going off the block to occupy Wall Street, and everyone should come with us. And a bunch of people did. So we got there, and there was a general assembly going on. And we sort of stood at the outskirts, we started listening, and they were talking about the Declaration. And we were reading it. We had a paper copy of it, and we were like, this doesn't make sense to us, you know? We were we knew what they were going for. They were going for this language that mirrors the Declaration of Independence kind of language, you know? And we were like, but this is, it literally sounded naive. I mean, we were all we're excited about this thing, but if this is going to be the document coming from the movement, then it can't go out there saying, we are all one race, human race, formerly divided by race, class, gender, religion. We know what they're going for, but that's ignoring all sorts of real problems that come up in society, but also come up in activist world all the time, right? And so we said it, and they're okay, email us about it. And we were no, we want this changed right now, you know? And so the process kept happening, and then they were are there any blocks? And Hannah and I looked at each other, and she was block. If you've been in consensus crowds, it's just blocking is not something you do because you feel like it, you know? It's a really big, it's mad responsibility. And I was I can't believe I'm gonna stand here in front of hundreds of people and block this thing. And it's you know, it's everyone's gonna hate me. You know, literally. And I was well, I've got Sunny and Hannah and Donu who are with me, and other people around us who've been listening to our conversation, and we just felt literally we just wanted to make the point, because we felt if everyone just got the point we were trying to make, they would be oh yeah, totally, you know? And we just we felt we hadn't had the chance to explain ourselves properly because they were trying to push this thing through. So I blocked it. And it was really, really scary and really intense. And we were we just want these line changes, you know? And they were okay, we'll change the line, find us afterwards. Can we move on? If we, will you accept, will you withdraw your block if we say we change the line? And we're yes, we'll withdraw the block if we change the line right now. And they're it will not go out like this, we'll change the line with you, find us afterwards, and we'll rewrite it. And we're okay. And so then it passed. And we were wow. Because it was it was not, it's when you block, people are really? Really, you're gonna block? We're this close to being done with this thing, and you're gonna block? But I mean, my friend, she was just we were very visible when we were there. Hannah, Hannah covers her head. She wears a hijab, right? Sunny wears a turban. You know, it was we were the darkest people there at that moment. And not entirely, there were people of color, but as a crew, very visible. And we were Hannah was standing there being this line erases histories of oppression that I live with every day. So afterwards we found the guys who were written it, and we were okay. And they were okay, here you guys are. And we were here we are. And we wrote since the guy who like mainly wrote that line and was really fighting for it, I see him around all the time now. We're like friends now. We're like friendly now. And like eviction night, like, he came up to me and I was really emotional and he was like, hey, and I was like, hey. And I just need a hug. And he gave me this like huge hug and like almost cried in my arms. And I was like, this is my dude. Like, he's the white dude. He's like the guy I called out in front of hundreds of people at this point. And here he is, like in my arms on eviction night. You know, I like really cried. And he's not a bad dude at all. He's just someone who never had until that moment to stop and think what a line like that would signify to other people, you know? Which is what we ended up explaining to him right then. We were like, listen, we know what you're going for, but that said, we're telling you this is going to come off to some people as like post-racial, which a lot of people find really, really problematic and like offensive, you know? And so we didn't rewrite it, we just ended up taking it out. Because we tried to rewrite it and we weren't getting anywhere with that. So we were just like, why don't we take it out? Why don't we just avoid talking about the human race and like any of that stuff? And that's what we ended up doing.